Transformation is the most powerful word in any language, because without it, we don't develop, prosper, or grow. And if your company isn't transforming, it's dying. And the best way to control the future is to invent it. My life's work has been focused on creating innovative companies by building high-performance teams that challenge the status quo and empowering them to pursue opportunities and accomplish things they never imagined possible. I believe the team with the best people wins, and that diversity of thought is the catalyst for genius. Change is rarely easy. So when you set out to achieve transformational change of that magnitude, I found trust is the essential element. Whether it was in the 1980s growing GMF into the largest manufacturer of industrial robots, even to this day, or in the 1990s when Razner's breakthrough through mechanical design software forever changed the way engineers work, or 20 years ago when Ariba invented B2B e-commerce to move business at light speed and whose network transacts $3.7 trillion per year, more than Amazon, eBay, and Alibaba combined. I've certainly learned that whenever you're starting companies from scratch, people have to trust you, they have to trust your product, they have to trust your processes, and they have to trust your company.
What's the life lesson? Like, what's the thing you'd want anyone who's kind of growing up right now to really hear from you?
I've been doing transformations my whole life, right? I can't do anything without kind of stirring up the pot. And I think the thing that I want to get across is the world needs more transformational leaders than ever before to deal with a fragmented world. You know, the rate of change is happening so much. We need principled leaders who can solve complex problems. And, you know, I think the only way to do that is to jump in water over your head, you know. And you know, that's something I've been doing my whole life, because if trust is the most important word in any language, then change is the most powerful one, because without change, you don't develop, prosper, or grow. And in the business world, you're either changing or you're dying. And the best way to deal with the future is to invent it.
Trust is the basis of every relationship, whether it's business, personal, or otherwise. And you partner with people you trust, you do business with people you trust, you buy from people you trust, and you love people you trust.
And so it all boils down to trust. And if you think about it, you know, what's your most valuable asset if you're starting a company? Well, it's your trusted relationships. So what's one of the most important skills? It's building trust. And everything in the business world is divided by time. So the most important skill is how fast can you build trust?
So for those who are, you know, student, young professional, thinking, okay, I buy into this idea of trust, but how do I do, like on a Wednesday, how do I start to build trust? I show up to work tomorrow,
Yeah.
What do I do to build trust?
Yeah.
Like, what does that actually look like?
Yeah, well, first of all, you got to trust yourself. And, you know, that's, because you can't trust anybody else unless you trust yourself. And, you know, I found a way to build that trust is keep jumping in water over your head. You go into a new environment, go into a new company, something like that. So how do you build trust? Well, you do it one-on-one. And so the question is, can you build trust at a lunch? Can you do it at a dinner? And what I found, one of the things that works is you can't be afraid to be vulnerable. Because when you're vulnerable with somebody, about 95% of the time, they'll reciprocate in kind. And when both sides are vulnerable, that forms a connection.
My transformational journey has been at high velocity with diverse adventures every few years. By living on the edge, I've experienced plenty of adversity and lots of opportunities to learn from my failures. And if there's anything I've learned, that's when you learn the most. Each new chapter builds on the last one and involves the risk of jumping in water over your head. After a while, that adrenaline rush becomes so addicting that I can't imagine my life without it. I call it scary fun. To quote one of the greatest transformational leaders of our time, the biggest risk of all is that we stop taking risks at all.
You know, I've had the good fortune of living the American dream. And I feel really, really, really blessed. And so I think that was one of the things my parents, you know, obviously my drive comes from my upbringing, and it's about paying it forward and giving it back. And so if you look at the things, whether it's what I did in higher education or in the business world or in public service, it's all about that next generation. If you ask me, okay, so what would be your big legacy you want to leave behind? I think back of what my dad would always say about fatherhood. He goes, you never know if you're a good father until you see your children's children. So I would say, you know, it's all about my mentees. You never know if you're a good leader until you see your mentees, because you're teaching them how to cascade that down. And I've had some great mentors in my life. You know, there's a genealogy out here in Silicon Valley, because this stuff's not written in a book, right? So you learn from the previous guy. My mom would always say the best way to learn is OPE, other people's experience. She would always say the best way to learn is from your mistakes. She goes, learn from other people's mistakes. You have time enough to make your own, right?